The special edition of Great Day Houston. Melissa Fitzgerald is the director of Advancing Justice and my co-host today, looking at better, more effective ways our criminal justice system can work, especially when it comes to drug addiction. Our next guest lost all 7 of her children because of her addiction. Today, she helps other mothers to get sober, and they don't have to leave their kids behind. Santa Maria Hostel is one of the very few programs like this. Nadine Scamp is the CEO, and today Lillian Stephens is a peer recovery coach, and her daughter Susie proves that a healthy relationship is always possible with the right help. All right. This is one of those things that for you to leave and go to rehab and leave your children behind is a tough decision to make, isn't it?
It was a lot tougher because my addiction called more than my children did for me. My addiction cost me my children. I'm very cognizant of that today. And having been someone who's been through CPS multiple times, criminal justice system more times than I can count on my fingers and toes, it's to be able to surrender and go to a program, to go through a drug court program, to get to Santa Maria was a blessing.
Yeah, and Nadine, that's kind of how it works here. Again, we talked about those many partners in making this happen. Yes. The professionals who do what they do, right? That a judge can safely send someone off to and know that that might be the completion of the program, the intended point. So Santa Maria Hostel sounds like such a great idea. Why do we not have one on every street corner? The fact of the matter is, there's very few programs like this.
Yes, we're one of the only programs in the state that will allow children to accompany their mothers into treatment. And we know for women, being able to make sure that their children are safe is such an important part and can be such a barrier to them wanting to get help. So we want to make sure that that family can stay together and we're able to address the entire family system.
Yeah, and in hopes of breaking that cycle. Yes. And so, Susie, for you, what was it like when you were in the program and you could look at other kids and say, they're not judging me, they understand what I've been through? She's a 14-year-old, right? Yeah, but what's it like to be back with your mom?
Good.
Good? Yeah. And pardon?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, but the good part is that you are in an atmosphere where you can start to begin to trust again. And I have said this many times on the show, but this is the thing that resonated with me of why I started working with Santa Maria Hostel, and it was that moms showing up at the bus stop and kids were assured that their mother would be there. That was such a simple thing, but it was about building trust. And so that's one of the things too. It's you can beat yourself up a lot about not being there for your kids, but they help you focus on now you're there.
Yes, ma'am. It's been a journey to rebuild with all of my children and my family. I was blessed to be able to reunite with my daughter, to have a more active involvement in her life, to actually have her with me, and to be that mom again, to have to get her up in the morning and fight the teenage battles of, Mom, I don't want to get up, or we're going to be late for school, or I need you to be in uniform, or, you know, just explain to her what I do. She has, we've come a long way, and it's been a difficult journey for us independently, together, but due to my recovery and my ability to be understanding, I'm able to understand my daughter better.
Yeah, basically you got the chance now to be a mom.
Yes.
Explain to people, because people in their naivete or their ignorance, one or the other, will say, I just could not do that to my kids. That's why addiction is so ugly and so crazy, because it'll make you do all kinds of things that you might say you'd never do.
I never wanted to do that to my kids. I didn't, and I felt like such a failure when I would get back up on my feet and I would have some of my children, and then here I go again back into the vicious cycle of substance use disorder. It's so controlling, and it took me losing them all, being back in the criminal justice system, knowing that if I tried doing this on my own, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah. What made it work?
I agreed to voluntarily go into a drug court program. It was my decision. It was my surrender.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's always the person's decision. They have the option of going in or not.
Because now you're a partner.
I wasn't told by a judge, this is what you're doing, you have no choice. But I knew that if I didn't, I would be going back into the same environment that I came back from. And I was tired.
Yeah.
I was 44 years old. I'm 50 now. I was 44 years old going, I've been doing this like this for over almost 30 years. You know, so.
And thank goodness there was a drug court and
you,
that there was
Jesus,
Santa
yes.
Maria in your communities that you could participate
Drug
in.
court sent me to Santa Maria.
Yeah, because otherwise you would not even known
Once
about
I agreed to be in the program, I was at their mercy.
Yeah.
But they had mercy on me.
And Nadine, that's an amen right there. But Nadine, there are several pieces to this too. It's not just the get sober part, because when you get sober, oftentimes an addict will tell you that's when the real work begins. But also making sure that they can sustain that. And so one of the things you do is you get them ready for the job place.
We do, yes. We have amazing partners out in the community that we work with. We make sure that our women learn how to write a resume, learn how to talk about any of the gaps in their work history,
get
pay
electricity.
rent, basic life skills, basic nutrition, some of those skills that Lillian was talking about. How do you make sure that your children get up in the morning? How do you make sure that you're giving them the support they need for homework and for education? So we really wrap around that entire family and make sure that they have all of those tools and support needed to be successful once they go back out in the community.
Okay, Susie, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're 14, so you don't have to decide right now.
I don't know.
The good thing is you have opportunity, and you have a mom now who loves you and supports you. She always loved you, but now she can show that love a lot better thanks to Santa Maria Hostel. Ladies, thank you very much. And by the way, you went by and visited there, didn't you?
I did. I went yesterday, and it was such a remarkable place, and it was incredibly inspiring. And also giving mothers who have just given birth the opportunity to bond with their children, because that not only helps the mothers in their recovery, and the goal is long-term recovery, but it also helps those children. Children need that bonding. Babies need that bonding, and that sets that child up for a much better life in the future. And you know, we've just at Advancing Justice had a partnership with Sesame Street for that very reason, to service children whose parents are involved in the justice system, because we can't forget them.
Yeah. All right. Well, for more information on Santa Maria Hostel, log on to santamariahostel.org. When we come back, it was tough, but you're finally sober and you're ready for a job. The problem is, how do you handle a few of the questions on the application? A program that helps you tackle them head on and get about the business of restarting your life.